Hey, you're listening to the Coffee and Catchup WrapUp podcast. I'm Linsay Rousseau. Along with me are Coffee and Catchup founders Taylor Lambert and Cameron Mark Lewis. Hey guys, how you doing?
How's it going?
Hey, good. Good to be on the show.
Okay, every Friday, Coffee and Catchup brings together the acting community in San Francisco to share, support, and strategize. Through collaboration, we want to make the City by the Bay a thriving hub for the film industry. We meet every Friday from 8:30 to 10 a.m. at Piano Fight in San Francisco. Piano Fight is a full-service restaurant and bar with a cabaret stage and 2 intimate theaters. They present new work by new artists, plays, sketch comedy, improv, live bands. No drink minimums, no ticket fees, no bullshit. Check them out at pianofight.com. I know we meet kind of early, but I can promise you guys great people and great coffee from Bedfellows Roasting Company. They ship coffee across the country. Just go to bedfellowsroasting.com. The coffee is hella good, isn't it, guys? I mean, I think how many cups have we had this morning?
3.
Okay, on to the podcast. This week, our guests are Lee O'Brien and Steve Spahn. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Taylor, why don't you kick off the discussion? These guys just got back from the Philippines where they shot the feature film Edsa Woolworth.
They just got back. They're now in San Francisco. These are 2 phenomenal San Francisco-based actors.
You're too
So
kind.
all of us listening out there would love to know how you 2 got cast in this international film that had massive appeal and worldwide interest.
This is Steve speaking. It started with me. It was a relationship that I had. It was a contact. This opportunity came up, and because she's into the community that this film was going to be a part of, she reached out to me because they needed an older Caucasian actor, and so she thought of me. I went in for the audition and wound up getting booked for it. And as time went on, we wound up needing to have one actor replaced. And so they asked me if I knew anybody. I thought of Lee, referred him. He went in, did his audition, and the magic went from there.
So you touched upon, you talked earlier with our group, and you talked about some key points that I really thought were important. And that was being prepared and taking the opportunity when it presented itself.
Yes.
And so what for you was the thing that you were most prepared for, that you had been maybe just working on previously and kind of had that opportunity come along, and then you were prepared to say yes to that? What was it for you that was your preparation?
Preparation was all of the training that I've had, and even when not in class, doing my own preparation, taking scenes, picking them apart, taking commercial cold reads, for example, just grabbing them, thinking about what I needed to do, what are they after, that sort of thing, and working on that on my own so that I'm keeping my instrument tuned all the time. That, I think, is the key element. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Lee, you talked a lot about social media and managing your social media. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of doing that, especially as up-and-coming actors as we are in San Francisco?
Yeah. Hi, this is Lee.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. To jump back
Sure.
to the preparation question, Steve nailed it in the sense that you had to have the training and then also to know on your own to take things by the horns. I think also preparation was knowing how to react when you're on set and when you don't have the moments to train or to rely on your lines, how to conduct yourself, how to prepare, how to pace, how to recoup. All those factors, too, are parts of preparation that you got to have, and just staying kind of sane and available throughout the shoot so you can do it. So I would add those on the good points that he brought up. As for social media, the question again one more time, what's the focus of it?
Yeah, what's the focus? Why is it important as, an up-and-coming actor trying to, make moves in the industry?
Definitely. Well, first of all, when you're in an event like this, you're constantly meeting people. You're constantly exposed to the people who made the project happen. You're constantly exposed to the people who will reap benefits or loss based on the project. And you also meet other ulterior people that are involved in the industry. And so, first of all, what you need to do is keep contact with all those people and keep the connection and work the relationship that you have created in that moment or that you've been working on for months at hand. And you have to maintain that and keep in touch. Social media also, there's a timing issue, and we touched on this during the speech, is when we were sitting in the different presentations, we started having material and publicity material flying off the Twitter and Instagram pages, right? It's just blah, blah, blah. Tons of pics, tons of announcements, tons of this, tons of that, video here, video there, all that. You gotta stay agile, because until any of us have managers and publicists working for us, it's not all entourage, at the beginning, it's all us. You wear all the hats, so you better throw that hat on quick and be able to receive the social media and then procure it out to the correct, correct audiences.
Right, and then going back to relationship building, that's what Cameron and I are really focused on here at Coffee and Ketchup, trying to build a really strong community here, all about building relationships. And it seems that, the strong relationships that you two have built on the set has led to these amazing opportunities. Now you're in the Philippines promoting this film, and it's become a wild success. So just the whole mentality of fostering relationships is so, so very important. And if you were talking about that earlier today, if you wanted to speak a little bit more on that, and how you were always open-minded to opportunities, and you never took anything for granted, and you were very engaged.
I think the open-minded is one of the keys. The initiation, the start of any relationship has to be received in an open manner. I mean, even if it's people that aren't the coolest project or the best paying, or bad work conditions are one thing, but when you're meeting people just in an audition, just at a video submission, just at Coffee and Ketchup. I've ended up meeting now more people at like family get-togethers and random like on the bus or on BART, because you just start talking, oh wait, you're an actor? Boom. And just running, and like you guys know this very well. Once you get to a point of having fostered enough relationships, all of a sudden you're getting callbacks later on. Hey man, you auditioned for me 8 months ago, but I'm calling you now because I made a note about you. That means 8 months ago, during that initial contact, we were keeping open and we were keeping fostered to the possibility of something coming about. And if Steve and I hadn't sat there at that, agency get together, happy hour meeting, and hadn't sat down and talked and, basically won each other over and felt we were, two quality dudes and we could stay in touch, and then foster the relationship from there on out through classes and through events and castings and whatever, we would have denied any opportunity of any of this happening.
Steve, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, just the idea of the being open-minded, that is so key, because as I mentioned during our presentation, that I had no idea when I auditioned for this project that it was going to be as big as it was. I went in there with the idea of this is a project that I thought I wanted to be a part of, and I knew that the director was somebody who had a great reputation, and I wanted to work with that individual. That's what I carried into the audition. The rest of it, just the leaves fell, however you want to call it. Yeah.
Well, that brings up a good point you guys made, is that you have to earn respect and credibility while you're working. And it doesn't come to you and it's not given to you. That is from the day-to-day, the grind, the hustle, the auditions. That's where you start to meet people and you start getting known and noticed because of your talents and your attitude, of course. And it's interesting to think that no matter how many social media, just touch on that, how many followers you have or whatever, it really doesn't matter unless you have the work to put out and prove that. Because we could all have 10,000 followers, but people can buy those and you can oversaturate things. But your work proves itself, which, like you were saying, you earn that credibility, which allowed for you guys to have the opportunity for this whole entire, tour in the Philippines and everything like that. Maybe you can touch upon your favorite experience from being over in the Philippines and doing a tour, each of you. So.
Sure, and you're absolutely right about that. The knowing how to be professional on set. You want to be. You can be remembered for being very good, or be remembered for being very bad. And the good part is what you want to do. You want to be a professional. My favorite part over there was the exposure that we had to all of the media events, TV, radio. We even appeared in newspaper. and posters that were plastered on poles all around that city. That was probably the best thing, was the exposure to these things. But again, the pinnacle for me was that red carpet event. It's something I dreamed of and never thought I'd get to it this early in my career, but 8 years into it, there it was.
Lee, are you excited to go back to the Philippines? Or
I am excited.
Any thoughts
Totally.
on that?
To go back to that question on what I liked, and it's going to be fun-lovingly talking right now. I think the fact, I remember when we wrapped the shoot back here, and we had a wrap party, and the incredible editing team from the TFC somehow threw together like a 3-minute trailer, right, for the movie. This was like precursor, hey, here's a possible song, here's some cuts, blah, 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 and literally had the entire production team and us just crying.
Real quick, just for the listener, what is TLC again?
TFC is the Filipino channel.
The Filipino channel.
The Filipino channel is the main distribution arm for content worldwide outside of the Philippines. So from here, they manage a lot of their distribution, a lot of the programming and info. So they're kind of the point people for the big company that's back in the Philippines.
And that's where listeners can then watch Ed's a Woolworth if they have that channel.
Yes, on that website. Yeah.
Okay.
I personally, to get back to the question.
Sorry, yeah, go back.
No problem. Then what we all realized then after seeing that quick trailer thrown together somehow magically was, wow, we got something that's a little bigger than us. And when we got to the premiere, I started to realize it's way, way bigger than us. Like, it was a chance. We actually had a film that wasn't your, rom-com, typical rom-com. It wasn't your typical bang-em-up violence. It wasn't your typical tons of CGI. You're left just dazed after the movie. You don't know what happened. It was a movie that talked about, that anyone could relate to, that brought Filipinos home in a good light and really connects cultures. And that's something that revelation personally I came to on the set, was the ability to connect cultures. And I thought, when you're sitting there and you have two guys from here that are brought into Manila, and we're sitting in front of a packed theater with a microphone just like this, talking to 200 people, if both of us, made reference to, what? We think you guys are going to love this, and we think as Filipinos you're going to be proud. And that was the big moment. That's, because there's a lot of movies we see, but they don't have that effect. And this movie did have that effect, I think.
Going back, you mentioned about how social media is vital and cross-connecting different accounts, but you had also mentioned when you were talking this morning about knowing when to use social media. You mentioned an actor who was inappropriately using Facebook on set and, leaving a bad impression. Can you just talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, it hails back to Steve's point about the professionalism on set. When you're on set, we sign NDAs. People want to keep lids on stuff for a reason. If you're brought onto a shoot, they've probably thought out their marketing if they haven't already. So if they know what their marketing is, why don't you just respect that? That's what they hired you for. Until it's your production, and then you can market however you like. I think the key on set and afterwards is to understand that, like we were so stoked that we made something bigger than us. There was already something bigger than us to begin with, which was called the production company and the movie shoot. Then all the celebrity status and stuff that came later, that's all results. That's not causal. And the causal part is going on set and basically respecting there's a company, a big company, TFC, that has funded a movie. They've casted it. They've brought all the arms into place. You now go and do your job. Doesn't mean... the thing, I'll throw this in as a little caveat. The problem with social media and cell phones these days is we were never really taught how to use them. They were flung onto us, and that's why you have people that walk into restaurants just talk on their cell phone, because they just weren't taught. I get it to them, Well, the same thing with social media. We just weren't taught sometimes that, hey, filter that before you go on Facebook. Filter that before you post on Instagram. You don't need to tweet that in 140 characters. You can just zip your mouth, the old... go to die with it is good arc thing. Good advice.
Steve, do you have anything to add to that?
No, that really sums it up. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Lee and Steve, if people want to find you online, where can they find you using social media? Social media on Instagram, Steven Spohn, and Twitter is at Steve O. Spohn, S-P-O-H-N, and Facebook is Steven Spohn. Okay, Lee, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lee O'Brien. That is LeeObrian. And then on Facebook, it should be Lee O'Brien Media, I believe is the reading. Any three of those. And then also my website is leeobrien.com,
Awesome.
which will have a variety of videos and past experiences.
Okay, great. Oh, did you have something to add?
Yeah, Lee brought up a good point. My name is kind of odd, the last name, but the first name is Steve, like Victor, En, or Steve with the letter O, Spohn. And I, too, have a website. It's stevenspone.com.
Great. So once again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, we are sponsored by Piano Fight. You can join us here next week at 8:30 or tune into this podcast. We're also looking to book a special guest coming up soon, casting director Sarah Cliven. Did I say that right? Again, thanks again for listening. And remember, it's a good day.
It is a good day.